London broil. That's actually, to me, that is disgusting because London broil growing up for me was like well overdone steak that had some Italian dressing on it and then it was like sliced and dry. But a true London broil is nothing more than taking a lean cut of meat. Traditionally, it's actually done with like a flank steak. However, in American food, we see more of like the top round steak. And you marinate it and broil it, right? Thus the broil. So I've had people ask me like, how do I perfect the London broil? Because you can buy a top round steak, which is what this is right here, for like $2.99, $3.99 a pound. It's a cheaper cut of meat, which is very lean, that you just utilize heat, marinade, and temp in order to create something that's a little bit more tender and flavorful. And it's actually a really easy roast, if you will, that you can serve to multiple people. So going into the holidays, if you know you're gonna be splurging for the prime rib, which you can find my recipe for the prime rib on any of my outlets, Rumble, Substack, X, whatever, then you wanna maybe save a couple dollars leading into the holidays and utilize some of these cheaper, underutilized cuts of meat. That does not mean that they're bad, it just means that they're underutilized, which means they're typically less expensive, but you can make them the right way. The steps on the London broil, just like any of the other roasts, you're gonna do your pre-salt, which you wanna do from 2 to 24 hours. So just season it as you would a normal cut of meat on both sides. Let it sit on a tray. I salted this 6 hours ago, and you can see that there's a little bit of moisture on the exterior, but not a ton. The moisture actually has come out and it's gone back into the meat. So it's breaking down the proteins and it's seasoning the inside of the meat. Now what I'm gonna do, the second step to perfect the London broil, and as always, you can apply this to any cut of meat. I'm going to now take a little bit of ghee or clarified butter. I'm gonna rub it on the steak and I'm gonna put it into a 300-degree oven. I'm going to cook it until it hits about 110 degrees, in which case then, I'm going to make I'm getting arrested right now. I'm gonna put this into the oven at 300 degrees and I'm gonna bring it up to about 105, 110 degrees. And while this is in the oven cooking, I'm gonna make like a rendition of a London broil marinade. I'm not gonna apply it when I put it in the oven initially because I wanna get that, I don't want all the marinade to kind of caramelize and hypothetically burn on the exterior. And I'm gonna apply the marinade at the second stage before I broil the London steak. Let's actually get London out of this altogether. The heck with the British. This is the American broil, okay? So we're gonna make the American broil. All right, I'm gonna rub this guy down. Okay, get it? Because there's not much fat in here, you gotta understand that. I've already seasoned this, so I'm not going to season it again. Remember, the salt is in there. So now I pretty much barded this. Barding is a technical term in which you cover meat with fat. And now I'm gonna pop it into a 300-degree oven. I'm gonna let it go for probably 20, 25 minutes until it hits 105, 110 degrees. Got some wiggle room in there. And then we'll make the marinade while this is in the oven. Okay, so now I'm gonna make a marinade for the London broil, or the American broil, if you will. Traditionally, as I mentioned, it's like just a bottle of like Italian dressing, red wine vinegar, some fresh herbs in there, maybe a little bit of oil. They use like canola or vegetable oil. But what I'm gonna do is that I'm going to use rice wine vinegar in place of the red wine vinegar. The rice wine vinegar is a little bit sweeter. I want some umami in here, so I'm gonna add just a dash of the red boat fish sauce, which is just fermented fish, essentially. So that's gonna add a ton of umami flavor. I'm a junkie, so I'm gonna do a little bit of A1 in here, just a touch of A1. Okay. Yeah, I know. And then I've got some of my cocoa aminos. This is just really, I mean, it's just like fermented and aged coconut. And now I'm gonna go with some fresh cracked black pepper. One of my favorite flavors lately, the flavor du jour, is this umami blend, right? So what this is it's just ground mushrooms, a little bit of onion powder, sea salt, but it's just got that rich mushroom flavor in there, right? So I'm gonna add a bunch of that to it. And then I'm gonna whisk this up. I'm not gonna add fat to this because there's already fat on the broil itself in the form of that ghee that we put together. I'm just gonna scoop some of this on top of the steak and I'm really just gonna broil it onto there. The reason I don't do the marinade when it comes to the meats is that the marinade does not break meats down. That's a misnomer. Marinades only act to flavor. They will flavor the exterior of the meat. Once again, they do not tenderize the meat or break the meat down. The only thing that breaks your meat down or tenderizes it and goes internal and external is the salt. That is it. That is the only vehicle through which you can permeate those impermeable cells. That's done through osmosis. The other flavors do not enter the meat. So this is strictly a flavoring agent for the exterior of the meat. But that's a good thing, right? Because we still want that exterior of the meat to get a little bit of that caramelization from what we put in here and to amplify those beefy flavors from the round. Because as you know, the round is very lean. When meat is lean, therefore it's not that rich and beefy in flavor because the flavor comes from the fat and the connective tissue, which ultimately breaks down and the collagen turns into gelatin. This cut does not have that, hence the reason that it's cheap. So it's not a high demand cut. But if you master how to cook it, then you can make it a high demand cut for your family and friends. So with the roast, nothing is better than a freshly made horseradish sauce. And horseradish sauce, traditionally, people just take like mayonnaise, you know, like Hellmann's Duke's mayonnaise, and they plop a bunch of prepared horseradish in there, and it's just like seed oil and horseradish. So we're gonna make our own fresh horseradish sauce from scratch. American broil is going in the oven, so we got the time. I'm just gonna do 1 egg yolk, okay? I'm gonna separate the egg yolk out of the shell. Oh yeah, there we go, we're getting just the yolk. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna add a healthy dose of Dijon mustard in here because I want this to kind of be earthy, like horseradish, mustard. I mean, they're of the same family. A little bit of this rice wine vinegar because we're already using that flavor, so let's kind of tie it all together. A touch of avocado oil, and I'm gonna use a touch of olive oil. I don't want the strong olive oil flavor in there. Just a little bit of that avocado oil in there. I'm just gonna finish it with a little bit of olive oil because I do like that flavor. I do like that fruitiness. Yeah, nice and creamy. Real mayonnaise, this is the color of real mayonnaise. So we got our mayonnaise right there. That's just a classic mayonnaise. I'm gonna add some prepared horseradish. You can do fresh horseradish as well, but I actually enjoy the flavor of the prepared horseradish, which is just fresh horseradish that's been marinating in white vinegar for a longer period of time. So add the horseradish in there and some of that juice, okay? Oh yeah, there we go. I mean, it's like a whole nother flavor when you make it fresh yourself. Dijon mustard comes in hard in the beginning, but then that rich egg yolk kind of rounds it out, and the horseradish just goes right up into those sinuses. It pitches a tent, lives there for a couple seconds, moves on. It's like a little drifter, gutter snipe in your sinuses. Oh God, look at how ugly that is. You see that? So I know this is good to go here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna throw this back into the oven and I'm gonna blast this at 500 degrees, okay? If you had your grill rolling, I would now take this and I would blast it on the grill. For the purposes of winter cooking, we're just using the oven. I basted the American broil twice with this nice little glaze that we made, or marinade. But now what I'm gonna do, because I'm like sitting here dipping my finger in this over and over again, and I love the flavor and I don't wanna lose the flavor, I'm gonna pour it into a pot. I'm gonna reduce it down just like for a minute, and then I'm gonna mount it with whole butter, and I'm gonna use that to finish the American broil at the end. Because I want this to kind of come together a little, I'm gonna add a touch of honey just to let it caramelize and pull together. All right, so I got this kind of glazed at the end here. Maillard browning, if you will. So this is the hardest part because this thing is so redolent. Smells like just a beautiful hunk of meat with the sweet and savory marinade that's baked into it. And I'm waiting patiently because I want to let this thing sit for about 10 or 15 minutes before I slice into it. I don't want those juices to run all over the place. But let me tell you, I want this sucker right now. I want it now! All right, so Lauren just came back picking up the kids. She's left them outside.
Sorry, guys.
They are just wild.
They can be insane, and now they have to clean my car if that says anything to you about what just happened in the last 20 minutes.
Well, you look beautiful.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel flustered.
What do you think? I made an American broil. AKA London broil.
It looks good. It looks good.
So on this, I didn't, just so you know, this isn't juice that ran off. I actually poured the glaze over this on the cutting board at the end. Like, we're a family that eats off the cutting board, so I figured why not just throw it on there. I knew that my muse was going to be coming back. Oh, God.
Jamie.
Come here, big guy. You want some London broil? Yeah, I'll blow up the balloon.
Get
Come here.
Get It's gonna explode.
It's not gonna explode. You guys playing
Go
volleyball?
clean my car, Jack.
Is William still in the car?
Jason's number 4.
Oh God,
William's
they locked him in the car. Whatever. So we're just gonna give this guy a nice little slice.
Cut into this already. You're talking too much.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
And we get a balloon.
Look at that. That is
Here,
just,
James.
oh my gosh, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
Gorgeous.
Look at that. Look at that right there. Jane, it's tender.
Hey Dad! Hey Dad!
Yeah, what's up, buddy?
Can you get a spoon in the water?
Yeah, I'll get it out.
Oh, that's good. Thank God.
Look at that. Hold on, let me get a photo. Let me get a photo of that.